This is how you transplant a pepper into a mason jar from soil to hydroponic. So you want to rinse off the roots and then feed them through the net cup, as you can see there, and then add clay pebbles and it's good to go. I am now back in school and I'm going to be growing peppers using this Traycon indoor growing setup. So we're going to see if I can grow some peppers hydroponically in my dorm room. So we got some seeds started already. Using hydroponics to germinate seeds has been very effective for me. And this seed is a Chinense variety of the Kong Star Lemon Starburst. And it's almost germinated within 7 days, so that's just really cool.
Germination guide. Place rock wool in Tupperware. Seeds in rock wool. Cover Tupperware and place under grow light.
Here's my final update on my hydroponic jalapeno plant. I've been growing this bad boy for over 113 days, and this is what it's looking like. Pretty soon I'll be able to harvest and make some cool recipes.
Look at my little pepper plate.
Here's my grow setup. I have a cheap Amazon LED light, a heat mat, and I grow all my seeds in rock wool. And so far, I have almost a 100% germination rate. It has come to my attention that I've done a lot of videos explaining why you should do cracky, but I've never explained what cracky actually is. So a lot of people get it confused with something like deep water culture, which is what I'm doing with this tote, where an air stone provides oxygen for the roots. With cracky, you don't need an air stone because the bottom roots are in the water, while the roots above it are used to absorb the oxygen. As you can see with my lemon starburst plant here, there is a gap between the lid and where the water is at. Also, as the plant grows larger, the water levels will go down, which is what you can see with my Chinese 5-color plant. You don't need to change the water ever, which makes it very low maintenance. The peppers that I'm currently growing right now are the banana pepper, the Hungarian hot wax, cayenne pepper, golden Greek peppercini, and a Chinese 5-color.
You need a little water and a chopstick. You dip the tip of it, just the tip, and then you put it into, and look, you don't put all of it in one place, you just sort of turn it. You plant them in soil as well, you just sort of do like that, slowly. Isn't that smart? I think that's smart. Thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe and tell all your friends and family and lovers how fantastic I am, and tell them to watch me as well.
I'm growing this jalapeno plant hydroponically, and this is what the roots look like after 6 weeks. I finally have flowers on a few of my plants, and I decided to hand pollinate them today. If you look at this leaf, you can see some of the pollen on top. Peppers can pollinate by themselves, but I do not have a fan in my grow tent, so I had to do it by hand. On this episode of Plant Parenthood, we're going to teach our kids not to reproduce until they're ready. So, if you couldn't tell, this plant is already trying to put off fruit right there, and we don't want that yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to just take every single bud that comes off of there because we want this plant to grow more leaves and grow bigger before it starts reproducing and having kids. There's 1, 2, and 1 more right here. We do not want those yet. So I'm growing this jalapeno plant in a bucket, the cracky method. And here is a root update after 2 weeks. Well, guys, it's getting to that point in the year, especially where I live, where pepper plants aren't going to be growing very well outside anymore. So I'm going to try and overwinter this plant and see if I can keep it alive until next spring. To do that, you're going to want to start by picking off any peppers that are still on the plant, because when you overwinter it, it's going to keep trying to produce some energy, and you definitely don't want it to go towards any of the peppers. So I've picked the rest of the peppers that were still on the plant. There weren't very many, but I have harvested most of them, so there shouldn't be really that many left. And what we're going to do next is just trim this plant down as much as possible. And I'm going to do that right now and show you guys what it's supposed to look like. To do this, I'm going to use scissors. You can use pruners if you have them. And as painful as this is going to be, because I've watched it grow all summer, we're going to cut it back and get it ready to sit for the winter. So as you can see, I've pruned back almost every single branch that the peppers were growing on. And I would say that this is a good base for it to rebuild over the winter. And you can either transfer this plant into soil at this point or keep it hydroponic. I don't know what I'm going to do quite yet, but we will see. From here on out, you're going to want to put it next to a slightly sunny windowsill or something like that. It doesn't need a whole lot of light, just something to make sure that it doesn't die on you over the winter. And hopefully, if you do it right, you can replant this in the spring and get a head start on all your other plants. here's the video to finally show you guys everything you need to grow plants with the cracky method. For starters, you're going to need a net cup. This is what the plant grows in and allows the roots to grow out of the bottom. Second, you're going to need clay pebbles to support the roots and the stem of the plant. You're also going to need a bucket. It can be any size, but this one's 5 gallon, and I drilled a 3-inch hole in the top so that way the net cup can fit inside of it perfectly. You'll then need to fill up the bucket with as much water as you need to reach the very bottom of the roots. So for this bucket right here, I used 3 gallons of water. You're also going to need some hydroponic nutrients. I use Dynagrow for early stem and leaf growth, and it has a 795 formula. And then once I'm ready for the plants to flower and produce peppers, I use the Dynagrow Bloom series, which has a little bit more phosphorus and potassium opposed to nitrogen. For my buckets in here, they all have about 3 gallons of water, and you'll need to use 1 teaspoon per gallon, so each bucket gets about 3 teaspoons of the hydroponic nutrients. You might also need to use a pH adjuster to make sure that your plant's water is slightly acidic. Where I live, the water is already slightly acidic, so I don't need to adjust it. But that's just something to think about. But other than that, you can grow your plants in a grow tent like this. Or you can grow them outside like you've seen in some of my other videos. So if there's any other questions, feel free to let me know. I was changing out my nutrients just a few minutes ago, and it's just crazy to think that this plant right here was a seed just 29 days ago. Hydroponics works, people.
Losing time, I'm fading fast. I just wanna make it last. Try to let go of the past. I close my eyes, embrace the blast. Sleepless nights and headaches stack. Restlessness to hell and back. What's my purpose? What do I grab? A slippery surface, a heart attack.